It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
So I'm Megan. I host this podcast called Intermission. And Abel, can you intro yourself for the listener of who you are?
Yeah, my name's Abel Ferrara, and I'm talking to you guys from Rome. Where are you at, Megan?
I'm in LA.
Oh, all right, cool. All right,
Yeah.
good.
So we have a little bit of a time difference here. I think I heard it was 9 p.m. for you.
It's nine
Yeah,
22, 9:22 to be exact.
to be exact. Okay, so Abel, this is a question that we ask everyone that comes on the show. So if you had to pick a movie that describes where you're at in life right now, what movie would come to mind?
Um, One battle after another because I just saw because I just saw that. So,
What do you think?
yeah, it's cool, right? Cool
Yeah,
flick. Have you seen it?
I have. I had a really great time watching it. I just saw it
Yeah,
last week.
yeah, it's cool.
Do you feel like you're in a stage of one battle after another right now?
It's always that,
Yeah, that's
you
that's
know.
the nature of life.
Yeah.
Okay, Abel, for the listener to get a feel for the movies that you like to watch, do you have favorite filmmakers that come to mind?
I mean, oh man, favorite filmmakers from, I've been making films and watching films for so long, so they like it, it spreads over periods of time. I'd say Stanley Kubrick, Godard, Pasolini, Fassbinder, that that kind of crew.
Do you have any movies that come to mind that you will always rewatch? You kind of put it on regularly?
I don't watch shit like that. I watch, if I see a movie, I get it. I'm 100% in. I'm all in. I'm not, I make movies. I'm not a big,
Like you would rather be making a
making
film than
movies.
watching
I'm a,
movies?
I'm a filmmaker. You know what I mean? I make movies.
Hmm.
So at a certain period in my life, back when I was a university young, I was a film fanatic or whatever, all you guys call it. But you know, I grew out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, so, if I see a movie, I like it. If I happen to see it again, there has to be very crazy circumstances. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
that way with music. I'm that way with music. I read a lot too, but the books, I don't reread them. I don't know why. Sometimes I reread them when I forget I read them. But I don't reread them for like, so I could, dwell on. I don't know. That's not just my thing.
So for the listener, we're having you on because we're going to talk about your latest book. But before we get
Right.
into that, I do want to just ask you about your filmography a bit and about your
Right.
background. You've often said New York as a character in your films. Has your relationship with New York evolved since the city has evolved and you have evolved as a person?
Yes, for sure. I lived in New York. I'm from New York. So I lived there a long time. The last 12 years of my life, I've lived in Rome. All right, and then I was kind of off and on for a while. I also lived in LA for a while, and so yeah, New York is a dynamic, ever changing. I mean, it changes from week to week. I mean, it's in constant motion, right? So that's what when you make films, though, you kind of freeze the certain moments. The period you shoot.
Yeah.
So it could be 1977 or it could be 1992, and when you're there and you're living there, then you know, 1992 is a lot different than 1994. But when you're living somewhere else and you come back to it, then I have a different relationship to New York now.
Hmm.
Somebody who visits, basically.
I'm so curious about you living in Rome. Was that a
Mhm.
decision you made to have a full contrast to being in a city and just like a different pace of life? Was there an intention to moving to reflect creatively in your work?
I think it kind of naturally evolved. I was working here for, say, from like around right after 9/11. I started working here some of the time, so I was still shooting in New York, shooting here. I made a film called Pasolini, and, one of the, I mean, we might talk about it in the book, but anyway, I made a film called Pasolini, and I met somebody here, and we had a child together. And she was living here. She's not Italian. She's from Moldavia, and that kind of that changed her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The That was kind of dictated me staying, but it was a lot of other reasons what made me stay here.
In the past, you've said filmmaking is kind of a confession. What do you feel like you were confessing through the projects that you made in the
I
past?
mean, it's an expression of yourself, of where you are, what you're doing, what's on your mind, how you relate to things, how do you relate to other people, and where you are in the timeline of your life, who's surrounding you, which actors you with, what crew people are you down with, what music are you listening to, what music are you making, you know.
You brought up music. I'm curious what kind of music you personally listen to.
I'm a rock and roller, basically. I play, so
Yeah, I see a guitar in the back.
yeah. That's the acoustic. There's another one over here. Yeah, I'm a player, so I mean, it's my hobby. It's my therapy more than anything. I don't know. If you ask me the kind of music I listen, I love music. I love all kinds of music. The Stones, Dylan. Then I'd say, the blues. Like the real blues that those guys, you know, kind of brought us to. Sonny Boy and Robert Johnson and like the real deal shit. But I love rap. I'm like anybody else. I hear shit I get crazy for. It's all over the spectrum.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's cool hearing you say you like rap. I'm someone like that as well, where I like all different genres. I also like all different movies. And you were saying a moment ago about different periods of your life, the different movies you made, like reflect what you're interested in at that time. And it says a lot about a person. So that's also kind of why I do this podcast, because getting to know people like you through the movies they watch or the music they hear, it helps me better understand you as a person and like the culture that you want to be a part of.
What's your background? Are you a filmmaker?
No, so I'm not. I am a graphic designer and I'm just someone who loves movies. And so I love
Right.
talking to people about movies. I think in a funny way,
Which movies you like? What were your favorites?
yeah, when I think of movies that are like my exact taste, obviously the Coen brothers come to mind. I like
Mm,
the humor mixed with the mystery, and I'm a big fan of all the character building. I love like really complex, layered characters, and I think that Coen brothers
yeah,
movies have such fascinating people. But I also love like a smaller budget indie movie as well. Through the podcast, I've been trying to watch more foreign films
yeah,
um, because, like, since I didn't study film, I was just kind of watching, what's like out in the ether, what everyone else is watching, and so now I've been doing a little
yeah.
bit more like deep dives.
You talk about old school stuff or new stuff?
Yeah, all of the above. I think that I want, just as a person in this world, I want to read, I want to watch, I want to listen, I want to like take as much in as possible because
Yeah.
if not, it's a waste of time. People are
How
creating
many
art.
movie? How many movies a week do you see?
I would say like three,
Uh,
but not all in the theaters. Like ideally I would be, but I just want, yeah, it just to me feels like why would I be on this planet with all these creative people and not be taking in this art that is being created around me? And if I can't make it, I want to watch it or listen to it. I was kind of curious because you have so many iconic films, but when people look back at the work you've done, do you have one that you hope that people know you for? Like that is the film that you make that is an Abel film? You're shaking your head no.
They're all Abel films.
Yeah.
They're all,
Every time I have someone on the show, the conversations always go like a different direction, right? Like some people,
yeah,
they have a lot that they want to share, or they want to rattle off all the movies they like, the cinematographer. Some people want to come on and they just want to hang out, you know? So
uh,
it's really just kind of seeing what the guest wants to get
yeah.
into.
I'm more in the hangout crew.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm excited to meet you.
Really.
I like any person that has a strong point of view, and I feel like you're someone who has a very strong taste and convictions, and I think that comes across in your work, you know, and I'm really excited to read your book.
Right.
Um, I think the most interesting people to me are like no nonsense. I've been told a lot that I am attracted to big personalities.
Right.
Would you describe yourself as a big personality or no?
No, but I understand what they're saying.
Are you someone, I guess this is an interesting question because you had to write a book. I'm someone who's very self-reflective, and I think about how I'm perceived in this world and who I think I
Right.
am in relation to other people. Do you do
Right.
a lot of self-reflecting or no? Was it strange having to write a book about your own stories and
Well,
memories?
I mean, a book is obviously it's it's about reflection and action. You got to put these words down, and you got to get beyond the thinking about it and
Mm-hmm.
get it into an expression. And make these events. It's a memoir. I didn't write a novel. So my memory's good. Thank God it's still it's still there at least. For a director, that's his key tool, like memory, right? Like to remember things like really the way they happened,
Mm-hmm.
not or try to, you know what I mean? So when someone approached me with the idea to do it, you dig what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
publishers. It
Yeah.
was I didn't just jump up and say I'm going to write a book now. I was thinking about it, and then it was an offer. It was a job basically. So I got I sat down and then started going through. I lived a long life so far. And going back through it and the relationships and making them just trying to make them clear to somebody. Because that's part of directing a film. You're just really trying to get an idea clear from from me to you,
Mm-hmm.
which is not as easy as it sounds. And especially in a medium that's not mine, which is writing, literature. I mean, I write scripts, but scripts aren't books. You dig what I mean?
So your book is called Scene. I'm interested because when making a movie, there's like an overarching theme, right? Or there's a message or there's a concept you want the viewer to get out of a movie. Did you have that same process when writing a
No, you
book?
don't make a movie I mean, movies aren't like about inverted pyramids based on a idea and also I'm not making a movie like as a quiz for an audience to like either get it or don't get it. There's not anything to get. I on a feature film and a narrative. It's a narrative. You have an idea. It could be a documentary idea. It could be an event that happened. We've made films like that. Pasolini, Padre Pio with Shia LaBeouf. Welcome to New York about the Strauss-Kahn deal with Depardieu. These are events that really happened. And as I'm a documentary filmmaker too, so I follow we're trying to get to like the truth, or however close. That's a funny word, but we're not there to entertain anybody or do anything than to try to understand something using the tool, using the cinema. For myself, number one, and for the group, because filmmaking is a group endeavor, right? But then there's the movies you make that are completely out of your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always the question. Well, where do you get your ideas from? That's a good question. So I knew where they came from. I go back and get more of them.
Hmm.
It's not. It's hard to explain, but you start following a chain of a train of thought. Or it could be a character. Or it could be an event, or it could be anything. And then a story emerges, and then you commit yourself to the people, and there's a process to it. That begins with the idea of I want to make a movie,
Hmm.
which means I want to communicate to you something, ratify or certify that we're human beings, that we're not, you dig? Like what you're saying, you want to enrich your life with the ideas and thoughts of all these different people, whether it's rap music or a fucking novel or something that was written today or something that was written 4,000 years ago. I'm working on a film now that was from a Greek myth called Phaedra, that's like 4,000 years old.
Hmm.
There's this female character, and and I get to like, you get to learn. I mean, that's it. That's what the big appeal to me about what I do. You
Learning
know,
while
yeah,
creating.
I learn. Yeah, I just learn shit. And that's another humanistic thing, the hunger to learn. So
It's funny because earlier what I was trying to say when I was asking about making films and how writing, and I was trying to see the correlation between the two, and I was asking you like what you hope people get out of it. And I felt like through your explanation, we almost were saying the same thing, but in different ways. And you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I do
yeah,
feel like you creating a movie or you writing, you were saying it's you communicating something. And so that is kind of the end goal, is that you want to communicate something. So you want the viewer to leave with a new perspective or a new story or new
yeah.
insight.
But what that is dependent on the viewer as it is on me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like you're gonna have an experience that's outside of mine.
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't try it because it's impossible to do it. You put up, you shoot images, you create scenes, you have characters, you do whatever it is. You show it. Say you do show it in a movie theater. There's 100 people. People are watching 100 different movies. You dig? And if you watch it 5 years from now, you're going to watch a completely different movie.
Yeah.
That movie hasn't changed. You dig?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think then in regards to your book, so you're writing all these or recalling all these stories from your past.
Right.
eh, Did you have a perspective switch on these memories now that you're at a different place and you're reflecting rather than being in the moment?
Yeah, because nothing is locked in. So, I mean, it's constantly changing. You're changing, so therefore your memories are changing.
Hmm.
The event. Yeah,
Did it feel at
you
all
know,
cathartic?
absolutely.
Hmm.
It's another reason why you do it. You want to change. You want to, you're going through your life's journey, and like while you're reading these books and watching movies, you want to change. You're yearning to be more than you yearn. That's to be more than you can be. It's not a slogan. It's like it's a natural state to, like you say, to learn, to be, to change, to feel, to grow. But it's something more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It seems like it seems like you're someone who's moving forward. You're wanting to learn, you're wanting to like keep going. And so
Yeah.
writing a book is looking back. Do you feel like now that you've written all these stories down, that
Right.
chapter of your life is closed and you're not gonna like
The resolution of it, it's as
yeah.
certain things are, and certain things you're writing about are ongoing.
Hmm.
And certain things you come to grips with that you ain't gonna that's not gonna be so easily resolved. Relationships for me, relationships with my daughters, the relationships I have with filmmaking,
Ongoing, yeah.
ongoing. I have a 10-year-old now. I have two adult children. I'm trying to come to grips with what I did wrong the first time and be there for her this time.
Was there anything that you wrote and then after the fact you retracted because you felt like you shared too much?
Yeah, it might have been, but if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna. if I'm playing a censorship game, whether it's movies or that, then I shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, I'm not going to put things in there that are going to hurt people,
Hmm.
but I'm going to put things down that are real, and the people who are with me that care about me, they know that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm not going to write a book not to write shit. I'm going to look to explore it because it's you gotta confront the fucking truth, man. Whether it's with a camera or with your memories, or you gotta be honest, bro. You gotta be brutally honest in this when you're doing this.
Would you ever write again?
Well, I just finished it, so right now I don't ever want to fucking. I don't ever want to see a pen or pen. No, it took like 3 years to do it. You know what I mean? So right now, I mean, yeah, I'm working on a script, blah blah, but no, that's something different. To sit down and write another book right now, forget it. Right now,
Yeah. I have a question. I have a feeling you wouldn't like this, but would you ever want a movie made out of your book?
I mean, I don't know if I would want to make it. But we do movies. I've made like 3 movies that were very autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
Made a film called Tommaso with Willem
Mm-hmm.
that actually has my daughter and her mother in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's based kind of on my life thing. I made a film with Madonna called Dangerous Game with my first wife, and she's in it with a lot of elements of a movie director in it. So
You're not opposed.
it depends on the circumstance. It depends on the money.
Mm-hmm. I think creating a story that feels personal to you and having people that portray different intimate moments in your life, did you ever feel like you were harder on the actors because it was such a personal project?
You don't want to be hard on an actor, man, because it's not my style.
What is your style of
Christina,
directing?
well, Christina, well, it changes, but Christina is playing herself or playing out moments in a relationship that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Say that big blowout on the street where Willem's chasing her down the street and she's freaking and my daughter's freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna play that scene again. Now I gotta put the 2.5-year-old, it was traumatic. Okay, I'm done. The mother thinks I'm gonna try to kill her. I'm not gonna kill her, but I'm like, you don't fight in front of the kids. That's like rule number one. But when you're psychotic, shit happens. You did. So we kind of knew that scene. Willem wasn't there, but Willem knows me well enough, to get, and he's going to find that moment for Tommaso, right? Who is me, but is not me, because Willem's playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Willem has a lot of parallel things, and he has a lot of different things. And there's a character there. You dig?
Mm-hmm.
So you got like a triangle here of me, Willem, the actor, and then the character we're creating.
Yeah.
Just by no matter how much we want to make it exactly what I did, it's never going to be like that. You did, Willem's going with the flow, and she's there, and it was tough because we had to traumatize my daughter again, you know what I mean, to get the scene right. And she's happy she does now. She's 10 years old, so she looks at it, she laughs.
Are you the person who's picking these actors in your projects? Do you have a strong opinion of who you want in your work?
I'm the director, but I'm like, what do you call it? I'm a
Do you
real
work with a
director.
casting director?
Shit, yeah. We work with everybody. We're looking for people. We're trying to find. We're looking for characters. We're looking for things. People. Some of them are like, oh, I want that person I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm in the new Safdie brothers movie. You know that? I'm in Marty Supreme. I got like a legitimate role in this movie. So I'm not an actor, right? Okay, but here's like a perfect example. Josh just imagined this person and he's imagining me from the beginning. Not to be me, be somebody much different, nothing like me, but there's something in me that he's got in his mind. You did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's easy casting because he calls me up and I could either do it or not. But, sometimes you're imagining things that you don't have the person for.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing another actor, or you're not seeing, oh, that's the guy, works the bakery, the woman from, my latest gym class, whatever it is. You dig, you know what I mean? Like you'll say, or like you, wow, yeah, the girl on the podcast, that's the girl we want. Or then you got to start reaching and finding. And at the end of the day, it's my gut feeling that somebody's going to be able to do it. I mean, that's my gift, or a gift that a director better have. And I say, yeah, that person belongs in front of a camera. I think I could get that performance out of that person, or they could bring something that that's gonna make this, that's gonna add to the fucking mix. And those choices are what makes movies.
What was it like being on the flip, being on the set of Marty Supreme and having to have direction from someone else and you're not the one calling the shots?
No, I mean, when you're acting, you died for direction. I've acted before, in the beginning. I did one of my first films called Driller Killer, and I was the lead actor. So, and I did it just because I didn't know how long it was going to take to shoot. And it was it was a real down and dirty kind of movie. So it'd be easier.
Yeah.
And then we got somebody, and after 2 weeks, they go away or blah, blah, whatever. You learn a lot about directing, acting. I'm glad I did act and I'm glad I'm doing it. I'm not, it's not something it's just not, I'm just not that good at it. You know what I mean? So you're praying for direction. You know what I mean? That's what's cool about Josh. He can express it. It all makes sense to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's written it, he's seeing it, it's in his mind. And if you're playing it and if you're an amateur actor, he's cool with the actors. It was cool but watching him with Timothy. You know what I mean? They had a good, that's the key, whether it's like when I'm with Defoe or with Lily or walking, in the end of the day, man, the camera's on the actor.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the actor is carrying the hopes and dreams of the movie. And they got to be all in, and you can't fake that. You got to be believing it and believing in the process, believing in the people you're with, believing in yourself. Even if you don't feel that confident. I mean, actors, in my experience, they're gentle souls. They're not, they might need to put that shield on to survive in a business or to get there. But in reality, they're delicate, and yeah, it's not an easy thing.
Where do you think filmmaking is heading? Like, do you think that it's a dying art, or do you have hope for future films? Obviously, you're
Yeah,
still working on
it's
projects.
going. Come on, it's always come on. Everybody's working on it. Everybody wants to make movies. Everybody's watching movies. Everybody's addicted to movies. You know what I mean? You got your telephone. You're like a one-man band. I mean, it's something I never had. I could make a movie with my phone, and then I could show it to the world on the internet. I think it's the opposite. It's not dying. It's like it's happening. Certain old, going to a movie theater. Certain things are like not the way they were, but people telling stories to each other, man, come on. That ain't
Hmm.
going nowhere. And, the cinema is a baby art, man. It's a fucking baby art. It's 100 years old. You dig?
Yeah, no, I'm
People are
on.
just figuring it the fuck out. And now that these kids could have this fucking shit when they're young, it's not like this big Wizard of Oz kind of fucking thing where, you gotta, who makes a film, who knows, and, maybe 1% of million actually get to try doing it. And there's all this big mystery like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. Anybody could do it now
Do you think everyone should?
if you want.
Yeah.
If you have desire, if you don't feel like it, it's like you want to watch movies. I sympathize with you. I want to watch movies. I don't want to fucking make them. It's like where I am with books. I love reading. Writing them, that's another fucking story. You know what I mean? But filmmaking comes more easy to me, and it's a more enjoyable process.
Yeah. I also feel though that I watch movies because eventually I want to be in movies, and so I feel like
To be an actress, or,
yeah, so like in a way I feel like when I watch I study and
no, you're
I
acting right now. You got yourself. Who set up your shot? You put the
me?
camera in. Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. So there, you're a one man band. You're like
Yeah.
Orson Welles. You got the camera. You're directing the rest of us. You're putting together. You know, you got your own movie here.
I'm curious, do you ever do podcasts?
Yeah, all the time.
What do you think of them?
I think they're crazy. I love them, really. I really do. I like. First, I like you don't have to leave your house. Number one. Number two, you never know what you're gonna get to. You know, like sometimes when we do the movies, like you got to do them home. You know, everybody does it. It could be a list of 50B. You know, and some of them are like, you know, very official and blah blah. And then sometimes, like you're in somebody's living room. You know, but it could be some crazy woman in Mexico. She has this podcast. You know what I mean? There may be 30 people listen to it
Hmm.
at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do shit that you look back down and there's 500 people watch this. What the fuck is going on? But it's interesting, you know. And then people call in. Then I like the ones you call. When did I do one? I forget what this was. This was like in Peru. And then people would call in. I don't know. People are in the fucking jungle. You know what I mean? And they like now they're in your house in Rome. You dig? And you're looking at where they live. You
Hmm.
know, and what's in their house. And they're in the craziest places because it's like, oh, it's Peru. You think? But these people are talking to me and they know my movies, like the way you're talking to me. Like they
Hmm.
know the movies, craziest movies of mine.
Hmm.
Here's a chick talking in the middle of the fucking jungle somewhere. And she's like talking about, asking me a very specific question about a specific movie that in a million years I wouldn't think, how did she even see this movie, you know?
Yeah, that's
And it's,
funny.
so it's all kinds of, yeah.
All right, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm probably going to close this out here. Thank you for answering honestly.
Yeah, thank you guys, really.
Yeah,
Okay? All right, all right.
thank you for
Good luck
coming
with your
on. I'm excited
podcast.
to read your book. And I am
Yeah,
I'm gonna get your email and I'm gonna email
get
you what
my
I think.
email and I'll be waiting
Okay,
breathlessly. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Deaton, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.